Welcome back, Wildcat Nation, to another episode of Wildcat Week presented by Amplify Media. Today we will kick off our new season, Season 5, as we will highlight all of our spring sports. And first up, we have the number 17 nationally ranked softball team here on campus, so shout out to my team. Super excited for this episode. And before we get into things, here's Isaac Wolf with Crossroads League in Review.
I'm Isaac Wolf with your Crossroads League Week in Review. Winter sports have concluded, capped off by number 1 Grace's loss in the national semifinals to the eventual champions Freed Hardeman of Tennessee in the NAIA National Tournament. And with that, we look forward to the spring season, but first, it's time to recognize NAIA All-American selections in the Crossroads League for both men's and women's basketball. Starting with the women, Indiana Wesleyan's Lily Frazier and Marion's Ella Collier were named first-team All-Americans. These two paced the Crossroads League in points per game, and at least one of the two were top 5 in the conference for each offensive category, leading their teams into the tournament as number 1 seeds before ultimately falling short of the Fab Four. They were the standout stars of the conference this year. Abby McNally of Marion and Elena Nelson of Spring Arbor were named second-team All-Americans. McNally won the Crossroads League Defensive Player of the Year and led the conference in field goal percentage, shooting 64.4% from the field this season. And Indiana Wesleyan's Jordan Reed was a selection to the All-American third team as well. First team All-Conference and all-defensive selection tied for the conference lead in steals per game with her teammate Lily Frazier at 2.8. For the men, Grace's Scott Moore was named NABC NAIA National Coach of the Year after Grace marched to the NAIA National Tournament's Fab Four and finished at 34-2. And the first team was headlined by Elijah Malone of Grace and Javen Buchanan of Indiana Wesleyan. Malone was also named NAIA Player of the Year. He has entered the transfer portal and will look to use his 5th year elsewhere in hopes of playing at the Division I level. Buchanan averaged 20.5 points and 6.5 rebounds per game in his sophomore campaign. He tied for 4th in the nation in field goals made with 273, and his 718 points this season ranked 6th in the nation. Huntington's Zach Goodline was named to the All-American second team. Goodline put up 20.6 points, 3 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 2 steals per game for the Foresters in his 5th year. He leaves the program as its all-time leading scorer with a total of 2,418 points. And Bethel's Drew Lutz was named third-team All-American. Lutz led the Crossroads League in scoring with 24.5 points per game and surpassed the 2,000-point mark in a win over Taylor earlier this year. To baseball we go, where number 18 Taylor split a pair of series with Huntington last Thursday and Saturday. The Trojans went 2-2 in the 4 games, highlighted by a 14-2 win to start the series. They play 4 games at Bethel over the course of 2 days this Friday and Saturday. Taylor sits atop of the conference standings at 16-4 in conference and 23-11 overall, while Indiana Wesleyan trails them by just 1 game. In softball, number 7 Marion split with Mount Vernon on Saturday, winning 8-0 in Game 1 and losing 10-8 in Game 2. Olivia Stunkel pitched all 5 innings and allowed just 4 hits in her 13th win of the season in Game 1. The Knights will have a busy week next week as they play a total of 10 games in 8 days. Number 17 Indiana Wesleyan swept Bethel on Thursday and split the doubleheader with Spring Arbor on Saturday. 2 of the 3 wins were highlighted by a pair of no-hitters thrown by the Wildcats. Elena Thomas threw one in the 15-0 win against Bethel, and Alyssa Wagner went the distance in a 3-0 win against Spring Arbor. The Wildcats are set for a pair of home series this weekend, facing off against Grace College on Friday and Mount Vernon Nazarene on Saturday. Indiana Wesleyan sits at first place in the conference standings with a conference record of 14-2. As for this week's Crossroads League Awards, the baseball player of the week is Grant Hartley of Grace. Hartley hit .714 for Grace during a trio of wins over Goshen. The senior outfielder went 5 for 7 at the plate, collected 1 double, 1 homer, and 6 RBI, while also scoring 4 times. The baseball pitcher of the week is Chris Adams of Marion. Adams fired a 2-hit shutout in a 7-inning game, leading Marion to an 8-0 victory against Mount Vernon. Adams fanned 10 over the 7 frames and did not allow a run. The softball player of the week for the 3rd week in a row is Briley Bilger of Indiana Wesleyan. Bilger continued her power surge, adding 4 more home runs and another 2 doubles during a 5-1 week for number 17 Indiana Wesleyan. Bilger hit .450 and slugged over 1,000 in the 6 games, scoring 6 runs and driving home 10 for the Wildcats. The softball pitcher of the week is Alyssa Wagner of Indiana Wesleyan. Wagner won all 4 of her starts for IWU, going 4-0 on the week with just 1 earned run allowed in 18 1/3 innings. Along with a 0.38 ERA, Wagner had a sub-1 whip and picked up 12 strikeouts. The men's outdoor track athlete of the week is Matthew Ryle of Marion. Ryle won the 400 meters and the 4x400 meter relay for Marion on his home track. The senior posted a time of 49.08 seconds in the 400 and helped the Knights to a time of 3 minutes and 19 seconds in the relay. The men's outdoor field athlete of the week is Christian Rios of Marion. Rios dominated his home meet, winning the hammer, shot put, and discus. Rios hit A standards in each, breaking Marion's record and posting the top mark in the NAIA this season with a distance of 64.03 meters in the hammer. The women's outdoor track athlete of the week is Riley Hirschberger of Bethel. Hirschberger highlighted Bethel's showing at the Marion Open, topping a field of 34 in the 100 meters by crossing with a time of 12.37 seconds. The women's outdoor field athlete of the week is Ariana Benjamin of Marion. Benjamin won 2 of her events and finished 3rd in another at the Marion Open, scoring wins and A standards in the shot put and discus to face the Knights. The men's tennis player of the week is Mark Soriano of Marion. Soriano went unbeaten for Marion in 2 matches, going 2-0 at number 4 singles and 2-0 at number 2 doubles for the Knights. In Marion's loss to number 22 Holy Cross, Soriano recorded the team's lone singles victory and also won in doubles play. The women's tennis player of the week is Yasmin Imamniazova of Marion. Imamniazova went 2-1 at number 1 singles and 1-1 at number 2 doubles for number 22 Marion, highlighting her week with a 6-3, 6-1 win in singles play against number 14 Holy Cross. The freshman's lone setbacks were to NCAA Division I Butler. And the men's golfer of the week is Augie Mann of Marion. Mann led number 24 Marion at the Garn Invitational, ending 8th out of 116 golfers on the individual leaderboard. Mann closed out well, carding back-to-back rounds of 76 in the final 2 rounds. That's all for this week with your Crossroads League Week in Review. I'm Isaac Wolf.
Thank you again, Isaac, for all you do with Crossroads League in Review. Again, we are spotlighting the Indiana Wesleyan softball team for Season 5 today. This is Episode 1. We have freshman Leah May and senior Kamryn Buck with us today. And to start things off, just tell us how each of you got into the sport of softball.
So I got into the softball sport probably when I was 5. And it was just like my family just signed me up for every single sport possible. And they're like, hey, you're going to play this and you're going to have fun playing it. And so I played basketball, softball, soccer, volleyball, like everything growing up. And it was literally just you're going to be an athlete. You're going to play sports. Like, have fun with it. Build, like, community, build teammates. So.
My story is probably honestly the exact same. My mom signed me up for everything, and she was like, let's start this off at age 4. So there I was, just playing t-ball, and it kicked off, and here I am now.
Yeah.
And kind of going into what made you, or how did you know exactly what was that moment that made you feel like I want to continue playing softball in college? And kind of how did IWU end up being that deciding factor?
I'll go first. So I actually didn't even know what IWU was. I actually knew what Taylor was before I even knew what IWU was. And then I got this random email from Steve Babinski. Come to this camp. It's a 3-day long, like 2-night, overnight camp. And I was getting back from Florida from like a national tournament. And I came a day late. And they were just like, Cam, jump right in. And I was like, okay, I don't even know where I'm at. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm just throwing a ball around kind of thing. And then just being on campus, being around, like, the group of coaches that were coaching at that time. And they were just, like, seeking me out and everything. Lindsay Cripple was the coach, like a defensive coach at the time. And she came up to me and she was like, Cam, you're meant to be here. Like, I don't know if you know that or not, but, like, the Lord is placing you here for a reason. And talked to my mom after that, and my mom's like, yep, IWU it is. And I'm like, yep, this is where my heart belongs. So it connected. Like, it was such a God moment when I stepped on campus and I got involved in things. And from then on out, I was like, yeah, I don't care. It's IWU all the way.
Yeah, I also had a similar story to that. I actually was not going to play college sports. I was like, in high school, I'm done with this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I wanted to go to a big school and just be surrounded by a ton of people. And then my mom actually was like, hey, I really think this is a good idea for you to stick with this. Like, you've been an athlete your whole life. I don't think this is going to be good for you mentally if you stop playing these sports. And I was like, all right, whatever. So the week before my senior year, it was like August 3rd, she goes, you're going to an IWU camp. And I was like, fine. And I once again, like I said, was in the mindset like I don't want to play college sports, but like I was kind of open to it because a lot of my high school teammates were going to play in college and signed me up for the camp, and I loved every second of it. Like, absolutely fell in love with all of the players. Coach Babs was just great. Coach Struber was great. I was like, Mom, I'm not going anywhere else. So we kind of started the like recruitment circuit. Went to a few other Crossroads schools, and I was like, no, like this just isn't the place. Came back for a visit at IWU. was like, yeah, this is where I want to be. Ended up doing hitting lessons with Juber, and I was like, really fell in love with it. Just coming back to back every week doing hitting lessons and meeting more of the players. And then once again, it was just like a God moment of like praying about this, and then I got my offer, and I was like, yep, I'm coming here, like no doubt. And I've just loved every second, like beyond blessed to be here and be with everyone.
So Cam, specifically, since you've been kind of a key player since your freshman year, what has been different about each team your 4 years?
Oh man, that's a tough question. Each team comes with something different. It comes with a different kind of energy. Seriously, like ever since freshman year, our freshman class came in with like just an energy of grit. So then that's how like my whole freshman year was. Sophomore year was like, let's ball out together, but we're gonna make sure that we're gonna glorify the Lord through it all. Junior year, obviously we all know, was a little bit rough, but we figured it out. It was just in a different way. Like the Lord brought each and every one of us together for like a unique passion that we have, and we still found out how to ball together. And then this year's just been different. The freshman class came in, and it's just been all about fun. Like there's no way else to do it other than like this is a game that we've been blessed to play, and we have the opportunity by the Lord to have these abilities to even ball out together. So this year has been the best so far, I think. Just overall, like it's free, it's fun. We're literally just teammates getting to do this thing in life and just balling out, having the best time. Yeah, it's been good.
And kind of going towards talking about your coaches, what do you feel like they do well to help encourage a healthy team?
Yeah, I would say just making sure that our spiritual being is put first. That first and foremost, and then obviously seeking us out as a human being before just a softball player too. That's a huge thing. It makes a big impact on us because we feel seen not just as a softball player, which is what we've done our whole life, but as first a child of God, a daughter in Christ, and then we're just sisters in Christ playing a sport, and they just encourage that, and then comes softball. So softball is honestly like something that's kind of last on the rings, but I mean we get the job done. So
yeah, I would say that our coaches do a really good job too of just like like you said, like we're people. Like they give us mental health days if we need it. I mean, I can't remember the last time that we had a full week of practice because they really, really are like, these girls need a break. Like, they need a break for their bodies. Like, this is important for them to not only be physically healthy, spiritually healthy, but also mentally healthy, which is, like, so important. And I think that's just so cool that we are fortunate enough to have coaches that, like, really, really key in on all three of those things because, like, you really can't be a unit if you're lacking in one of those areas.
So as we're kind of in the depths of our conference season, kind of hitting almost that halfway point, how do you guys feel like the season's going for you individually, and then also being first in the conference as a team? How's it going?
Yeah, so for individually, I mean, I'm just loving it. Like Cam said, like, just realizing how blessed you are to just be here and, like, be with this incredible group of girls. I mean, we're going out there every day, hyping each other up, just giggling, laughing. Like, obviously we're grinding, and we're giving 100% at practice, but, like, being able to just go out there and just have fun and just literally just be a team with each other is just so cool. And then also just being first in the conference, like, that just puts a smile on my face, just knowing that we've worked so hard since we've been here and just keep working, not only with each other, but also just knowing that, like, being able to win and just platform our softball team is just so incredible, and just showing them, like, we have this, like, spirit in our whole team, and just showing the people that we're playing that we can be fun, but we can also just spread the Lord's love to every single person we're playing, which is just such a cool thing that we're able to do.
Yeah, I'd probably say the same thing. Like I said earlier, just the season it's been bittersweet, just being a senior and knowing it's, like, the last time I'll ever play softball, but it's just with a phenomenal group of girls. So learning, like, our mantra being this year is literally FUN. Like, that's what it's about, and while we're doing it, we're glorifying the Lord and being kingdom builders. But individually, like, obviously up and downs, it's the game of softball, but I'm also learning to actually have fun and play free and have joy in the sport, and it's my last year, so it's like the best way to go out. Literally wouldn't pick another group of girls to do it with. So.
And then for you, Leah, being a key freshman on the team, what about IWU Softball is different compared to any other team you've played on?
I would say that the coaching is definitely a little bit different than any of the other teams I've played on. I had pretty strict and disciplined coaches, so I was very used to not in an aggressive way, but a stern hey, we need you to do this. We need you to do this for the team. This isn't about you. This is about the team, which was really good. Team unity was really driven to my head when I was younger and growing up. So that was definitely good. And then just switching that over to Coach Babs, he's very very, very personal. So it's a little bit different because if I go out there and make an error, it's all right, you got the next one, where I was used to, hey, I'm sorry, hey, do that better, get your glove down, but you got the next one. So I'm used to a little bit more aggressive coaching than I would say Coach Babs has given me. So that is definitely something that I've seen differently in my coaching area so far.
And when switching to kind of spiritual life and spiritual aspect of just IWU in general, what do you think that the coaches do well and the team to bring everyone closer to Christ and kind of bringing everybody closer to that kingdom?
Yeah, I think something that the team really does well, especially this year, I don't know about previous years, but we got put into groups this year. So we have a specific spiritual team on our IWU softball team this year, which has been really cool. And those girls have been able to put on some worship nights, and we just did one with the soccer team, which was really unique, a great experience. And then Coach Babs also just does a great job of really focusing on prayer and focused prayer, which is really cool. So being able to pray before or after practice, before we go away for a game, praying after a game, and just having about safe travels, great game, has been so cool. And then we also did prayer cards over spring break and wrote those specifically for prayer for players and teams and passed those out during our spring break tournament, which was a really unique experience. It was just so cool to see not only our team growing, but just seeing how the Lord's working in the other teams around us. So it's been a great experience in that way.
I'd probably say something that we do different that obviously sticks out is we just adopt a heart posture of we're here to play a sport, but we're here for a much bigger purpose than just that. Obviously we're here to get an education. Obviously we're here to play sport. We have a scholarship going for us, but we've been placed on this earth for a much bigger purpose than anything. So we know going in, we're a great group of ballers playing together, having fun, but ultimately at the end of the day, softball's going to end at one point, and what we're here for is to literally glorify the Lord and just bring people to his kingdom. So
now for more of the fun questions. I know Leah doesn't have much to pick from, but Cam has a lot. What has been your favorite memory of being on IWU Softball's team?
Oh my gosh.
Cam might need a little more time to think about it.
It's hard.
My favorite memory from being on the IWU softball team so far? Okay. So we went on spring break this year, and we were staying in the Mojo Doja Casa Hotel. Long bus ride, and we finally get to our place, and we're with our coach, and we walk in after we got on unloading the bus, and we have 11 girls in this house, 12 girls in this house, walk in, and you just hear screams, and we were like, there's roaches on the ground, and we're like, no way, what's happening? So we walk in, there's a little dead roach next to my bed. I'm like, I'm stunned. And then the next thing you know, you just hear all 11 girls just there's alive ones. And so that was probably one of the funniest things I've ever experienced, because you're tired, you've been on the bus all day, you just want to take a shower, go to bed, and then there's a roach-infested house while you're on spring break. So we had to load up the bus, and we ended up staying in a hotel all week, which was honestly a blessing, but that was definitely a funny time for me.
Yeah, this is a really hard question. Ooh, we are a very unique team. So,
we can get multiple if you want.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to. I mean, obviously a little bit more serious of one are just all the baptisms that we get to do and we get to witness. Whether it's in our team or we're bringing other teams to Christ. But funny, I think sophomore year, Chloe Tragesser is just the goofiest girl in the world, and I was on the verge of peeing my pants already, and all of a sudden she says these random words, and I peed my full pants on the bus. And we had an extra like 30, 40 minutes to drive to this like stop. So I'm just sitting crisscross applesauce in a bus seat, just full pee, and I didn't have any clothes, nothing. Another one is like we're getting ready for the World Series and we're doing relays, and Danielle Munn is the pitcher, and this is like before we realize that like our pitchers are not the most athletic people on our team, and she's cutting this ball. I'm in right field, and I throw this ball straight to her chest, and she just like directly falls back. Like there's like the ball is directly at her chest, and she just bam straight on her butt. So I don't know. There's so many just random things. I was also in the roach infested house, and we got Evelyn Waymeyer just going crazy. You know, making the coaches act the fool is pretty funny too. Yeah. That's always good.
We definitely are a goofy team. So like
Yeah.
I can't even recall everything, but even being a freshman, I mean, there's so many things that I just crack up. I'm like, you know, we are weird, but at least we're having fun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And kind of just talking more about just your softball team as a whole, what do you guys feel like you guys do so differently compared to any other athletic team at IWU? And this could be on the field, off the field, spiritually, friendship, whatever it may be.
I think having a coach that instills our spiritual being before anything else is huge. So then we also adopt that same heart posture. So we go at everything in life with that, like, what is God gonna do through this situation? So how is He gonna work in and through me to get to other people? At the same time, like, we love so hard and so well, and I think that's very different, because I mean, granted, we're teammates, so we have to love hard and love well on the field, but off the field we do a good job of it. Even if we don't like that person, like, we're still gonna love hard, we're gonna love well, and we do it with a smile on our face, and we do that with quite literally anyone, because at the end of the day, like, the purpose is bigger.
Yeah, I agree with that. Going off that, I think our team does just a really good job of just having that heart posture. Some of our favorite things is when everyone's chilling in the commons after class, everyone goes out of their way to just say hi, just smile, wave, ask how they're doing, which is really cool. And then people are just really personable and just like being focused about like coming to practice and just being like, hey, Harvey, how are you doing today? And her not just being like, oh, I'm fine, even if she's having the worst day of her life. Like her legitimately taking time to be like, you know, I'm having a bad day. Thanks for asking. We can unpack it later, which is really cool to have with your teammates.
And kind of that same question, but how would you compare yourself to any team in the country? Like, that could be softball, just whatever, any sport. How would you set yourself apart from the rest of the country?
I think it's kind of like what Leah just said with like the purpose behind it. We're a very, very intentional team, so we don't take a second off of realizing like this is gonna go further than we even can imagine, because the Lord is gonna do miracles through something, and it just starts with one person, just one ripple. So I think that us like actually buying into the fact that like we're just one single person, but knowing that like the Lord can do so much through one person, and it can ripple out to so many people. We're just so like, we have a heart that's so bought into that, and it goes like across our whole team too.
Yeah, I think that just knowing that there's just such a bigger purpose than us being here is just something that's really instilled in our team, and just knowing that like the Lord has placed us all here for a specific reason, and like we're just here like fulfilling His purpose and just like trying to show others the Lord's just love and His just passion that He's instilled in us. And just I think that is one thing that definitely sets us apart from others, because I mean, just from a softball standpoint, like for example at Goshen we were down 6 runs, and I mean our dugout was still up on our feet goofing around, like just knowing that win or lose, we're still like children of God is just so good, and just so good to have in our thought process, and just knowing that like we're not going to let a loss get us down, and we're just going to keep fulfilling the Lord's purpose.
So 2 more questions, kind of looking forward. sitting first in the conference right in front of Marion. My bad. How do you guys think that the season's going to end? What's your predictions? These can be absurd or realistic.
Personally, I think that if we keep having trust in each other and if we keep our team unity as it is, that we should continue, like, if we keep playing the way that we know how to play, that we should definitely end up in the runnings for first. I mean, I'd love to pull away with a conference win. That is definitely our ultimate goal. But also, like, if that isn't in the Lord's plans, I guess it's not in the Lord's plans, and we'll just have to learn the lessons that He's shown us through those losses.
Seeing as just, like, over my last 4 years, we've obviously made it to the conference tournament and won a couple times and stuff. But seeing, like, what this team is about this year, we're different. Like, it's a different IWU softball team. So we can be upset, and we're going to come right back, crawling back with, like, so much fight in us. As we say, like, step on their necks in the name of the Lord. But, like, genuinely being optimistic literally for the first time in my whole life. Like, I'm going to be the most optimistic person right now. Like, we're going to go to the World Series. I see it. Like, I feel it. It's in my bones. We did it sophomore year, and I can confidently say that, like, I can see us going there. I can see us going far. I'm not going to go as far as to say that we're gonna win it all just because, you know, knock on wood. But, like, we have grit in our heart. We're going to fight all we can to get there. And if we just continue to learn more about each other and be united, we're gonna make it.
And last but not least, it's kind of one of the most interesting questions, and
We've heard some crazy stories on this one.
Yeah, so take it as you will. What is one fact about yourself or the team that you think others would enjoy knowing or they would be surprised about hearing?
Fun fact.
What? A fun fact.
This is hard.
Oh, fun fact about myself or the team. Like,
We had a girl tell us she almost drowned in a parking lot.
in a parking lot?
Like, we've heard some absurd things.
Yeah,
So it could be literally anything.
I mean, I have an absurd story, but I'm like, do I share it? Actually, I'll share it. I'll share it. It's fun. So when I was going into my 7th grade summer, I was at a store with my mother, and it's called the Surplus Store. It's not in business anymore. The place shut down, but I was shopping, and I was like in the middle of the aisle, and my mom was like at the very end, and I got my little cart, and I'm like looking at the mac and cheese, and then all of a sudden you hear this crack, and the whole entire shelving unit just came crashing down on me. It like sliced my side open, broke my hand, and like looking back, it was not funny, but like now I'm like, who gets to say that a shelving unit fell on them like at a store where they were shopping? Like what? Like who gets to say that? So that's probably one of the funniest things that people are like, whoa, like that happening? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I was shopping and then boom, right on top of my head.
I think that's definitely up there.
That's up there for sure. I love the funny stories we get on this question.
Cam.
Am I just to go? I don't freaking know.
Cam's funny story, she has dreads.
Yeah, seriously.
Cam's fun fact, she does have dreads.
Yeah. I feel like one for like our team. I don't know. There are so many that I could tell about myself, but like, I don't know. Take the time to learn them. Come talk to me. I'd probably say one of the like wackest things was sophomore year when we went to the World Series. We put a banana in a jar, and Reagan just like had it for like a month or so, like more than a month, and it was just rotting in this in this jar. And she'd bring it to every game, and it'd be like our good luck jar, but also like the bad juju would go inside of it. So then if like something happened, you like strike out, whatever, and you're like ticked off, you go to this banana jar and you just like scream at it and like tell it what you want. And we took it to the World Series, and then Evelyn Waymeyers don't take that off the bus. So we said,
It was disgusting.
oh, but like The fact that we were just carrying around this rotting banana in a jar and we would just scream at it, like, in the middle of a game. Like, I don't know, but it worked. So.
Well, definitely one of my favorite episodes just because I'm on the softball team.
That's
But that's all we have for you guys. Thank you so much for kicking off season 5 with us. We will be back next week with baseball. Hopefully they get back to you and we can schedule that. So that'll be episode 2. I'm Abby Harvey with Micah Roberts here with our guests Leah May and Cam Buck here on Wildcat Week, brought to you by Amplify Media.